Welcome to the AP Effect, the podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Kanaya.
Hey guys, this is Kaylin.
Hey y'all, it's Destiny, and welcome back to the 5th episode of the AP Effect.
Yay!
Today we have a special interview. His name is Tavon Benson. We will introduce him more later in the episode. So today's topic is healthy versus unhealthy relationships. And I felt like this topic was a great topic for us to talk about. There's so much stuff that we could talk about, but we probably won't be able to say everything we want on this episode. So there will be a part 2. All relationships are on a spectrum from healthy to abusive, while you have unhealthy traits in between. So I just learned that recently that, I know that there can be abusive relationships, but I didn't know there was a difference between unhealthy and abusive relationships. But they are. I didn't know that.
Definitely.
I feel
But
like they both tie under abuse.
Say it again.
I feel like they both tie under abuse because unhealthy behaviors can cause abusive tendencies.
Right. But defining a healthy relationship is where there is healthy communication, healthy boundaries, mutual respect, and supportiveness coming from both sides. Do you guys agree?
Yes, I agree.
Me too. I definitely agree.
Yeah. And there's so many other traits that go into healthy relationships. And defining an unhealthy relationship. An unhealthy relationship is when unhealthy behaviors are being presented, such as lack of communication, dishonesty, manipulation, and many more. Yeah, it's a lot. Like with healthy relationship, it's a lot of traits that go under healthy relationships.
It's such a big difference. I just feel like sometimes unhealthy relationships get disguised as healthy relationships in the beginning, in a way.
The fact that there's more characteristics that goes into toxic or unhealthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it basically means it takes more effort to have a toxic and unhealthy relationship than it does to have a healthy one.
It literally does.
So, like, I don't understand. There's really no excuse like, oh, I'm too lazy to text, or I'm too lazy to da-da-da-da. It's literally more work to be in a bad relationship.
I feel like it's so hard for people to really identify and be in a healthy relationship because we mostly grew up around unhealthy relationships.
Yeah.
And it's it's so hard. I'm not gonna say it's hard, but it's like we don't know what it's supposed to look like or how to really be in one.
That's very
true. Or
true.
even with unhealthy relationships, it's like sometimes when you do finally get that healthy relationship, you sabotage it because you feel like you're not deserving of it. And that also plays a key into it as well, because it could very much so be a healthy relationship coming from the other person. Mm-hmm. But because you're still battered from the unhealthy relationships, now you're turning it into an unhealthy relationship type of, because, you're not entering it healthy.
I was just going to say, I've also realized like people who may be in an unhealthy relationship with their partner or with their family or like friends, whatever, they probably don't notice. They don't realize it because it's become a norm to them, and they're just trying to deal with it instead of escaping it.
I agree. I definitely agree. Do you guys think that people can have healthy relationships with unhealthy tendencies?
I was going to say you can definitely have a healthy relationship with unhealthy tendencies. For example, me and my friend, they see me kind of like as a therapist or as a person that they can run and tell their problems to, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But then it's just like, when are you going to check on me?
Right.
When are you gonna reciprocate that energy?
Right.
Yeah. But that's kind of an example of it, because it's not really unhealthy, but it's just like, in
a way, yeah, because it's like you are lacking. Like you said, they're not reciprocating the energy or the action that you are giving to them.
Because I feel like with that kind of thing, you have to meet halfway,
Dude, and I learned something. I've been really in this hermit mode with myself and like people, and learning stuff about myself and learning stuff about the people around me. And with stuff like that, Kaylin, when you find yourself in situations like that, even though it's hard to think that this is what it is, people are like attracted to the vibe or the light or positive energy that you bring. So some people want to, put all their problems on you and tell you, and you, because you're empathic and you understand, they want to put that on you so that you never get a chance to talk about what you have to talk about, because they want all the attention to be on them in a way. Go ahead.
Do you think I'm empathic?
I do think you're empathic. I definitely feel like we are the people that always get looked upon to solve all the problems, but we have to solve our own problems because nobody wants to care to understand us in a way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with being an empath, and Mr. Ron told us about this all the time, but with being an empath, you have to learn how to be selfish. And especially when it comes to, like you said, having healthy relationships, but having unhealthy habits, or people having unhealthy habits, because just because they have that unhealthy habit, you have to continue to be healthy within yourself, because the more, and this is what I'm starting to learn, the more healthy you are with yourself, the more transparent you are with yourself, the more honest you are with yourself, you'll attract the people that you want to have that reciprocation with, basically.
Right.
And it's even with friendships, it's with family.
How do you guys feel about teaching family members or friends or whoever you have a relationship with or how to treat you?
I think that's very important. My mom has always, she says this to me, literally anytime I talk about bringing another person into my life, teach them how to treat you. No matter what it is that you have to teach them, you have to teach them, because you can't just assume that they're going to pick up on certain things. Everybody's different, so you have to teach them how to treat you.
Right.
If they can't understand what you're trying to show them, then you just got to let it go.
Right.
When people say, like, I don't want to have to teach you how to treat me, I feel like they coming from a standpoint of, I don't want to have to tell you that you should respect what I say, or I don't want to have to tell you that was disrespectful, or I don't, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Because I've had situations with people where, like, just for example, I was talking to this person, and we were in a relationship. So we were exclusive. Me and this person was exclusive, right? And so I go to this person's page, right? And this person is commenting under their friends' pictures, but the things that they're commenting is like very not friendly, like, in my opinion. The comments were under the lines of, you look like a mill.
And this is the opposite gender? This was the opposite gender, like his friends?
Yes. The friends were the opposite. They were the opposite gender. They were the same gender as me. I'm a female. So I was just like, okay. In my head, it wasn't the issue of him showing his friend appreciation. That wasn't the issue. The issue was the fact that you didn't even see that was disrespectful, the way you were commenting. It's a certain way that you do stuff when you have respect for somebody, I feel like. Gotcha. And I think that's kind of where people come from when they're like, I'm not about to teach you, or I'm not, because it's just like, I understand what we're talking about too, like, some stuff do have to be taught because people grow. And but when it comes to that, like, I feel like, in my opinion, it's like, I don't want to have to teach you to respect me in a way. And I feel like with that, if people have to say that, they should know they don't even need to deal with that person in the first place.
That's true. What if in his past relationship, he was always doing that?
And even when I seen it under his friend's picture, I still didn't think that it was serious. I just thought it was disrespectful because of how it was other stuff that was said.
Okay.
It's just like, I just said that as like,
okay, got you.
Yeah, but I just felt like it was disrespectful because I'm like, yeah, this your friend, but this how you compliment your friends? Like, it was kind of like that to me, because I'm a very understanding person and I'm very open to other perspectives on everything. So I was offended, but I was still under the mindset, okay, this is his friend, so let me not trip too much, but at the same time, I need to address this because
did you?
Respectful, but stuff like that.
Did you address it?
I did address it, and long story short, me and that person are no longer together.
Okay, well,
good for me, right?
Good for you.
Good for me. It's learning boundaries. I'm just learning.
It is, yeah.
I noticed with me, it can kind of be unhealthy, like on your own part. Like me, I find it hard to set boundaries. I don't know why it's so hard for me to set boundaries with people, but I don't know. It's just very hard for me to be like, hey, I don't like that. Don't do that. But you have to be able to set boundaries and be comfortable with setting boundaries. Gotcha. So like right now, I don't feel comfortable bringing anybody else into my life until I can figure out how to feel comfortable with setting boundaries.
Okay, but you gotta start somewhere. So you start with your friends.
Because like with the friends I have, I've established boundaries over time. If they do something, I'll make it known that I don't like it. kind of like in a weird way. When something hurts me or when something makes me upset, I just completely shut down. So if you see me shut down, know not to do that again. You know? Okay. Don't do that ever again because I will stop talking to you.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
When you said setting boundaries, you talking about with like a romantic relationship?
Romantic, platonic.
Okay.
It don't matter.
Yep.
Okay. It don't matter.
Same with me, Caitlin. I'm learning to set my own boundaries as well. Even for myself. I gotta set boundaries for myself too.
Yeah, same. Me too. Like I'm learning how to set boundaries, but actually standing on it, and also like the way I actually address it.
Right.
Like I'm still in the process of learning how to say no and let that be no with a period. And let that be the answer.
It's so crazy how that like saying no is so hard. Like
it really is. Like
because I'll say no and then I feel the need to explain myself.
Explain why I said no.
Nobody. And it'd be the people who say, "Oh, you don't have to explain yourself," but then as soon as you say no, they'd be like, "But why? What do you mean why? Right, you just told me I don't gotta explain myself."
Right. I do have a question. So since relationships are unique, how do you keep a relationship healthy?
With me, like elevating as a woman, I'm trying to elevate to a nice, exquisite woman. But I feel like personally, keeping a healthy relationship, I realized I have to keep me healthy, y'all. Like, and I'm one of those people, when I start catching feelings for somebody or when I start liking somebody or whatever, I get really invested into them that I forget about me. It's kind of a like trauma response from like childhood stuff, but it's just like I'll get so invested into that person that I'll let everything that they do consume my feelings. Yeah. And so then I just forget about me all in general. Like I just be like, it's like I put me first, but at the same time, I don't put me enough to realize that I wouldn't even have to go through those emotions if I just would have set that boundary from the beginning.
Right.
I'm learning that for a healthy relationship, I have to make sure that I'm healthy.
Yeah.
So like whoever I attract or whatever, they're healthy too, and then everybody can be healthy together.
Yeah, I do agree with making sure I'm healthy first. I feel like how to keep a relationship healthy so far. I just feel like just learning that person and also learning yourself and seeing how you guys can both connect.
So I agree with everything y'all are saying, but I also want to include that I feel like no matter what the relationship is, whether it be a friendship or relationship, I feel like the two people in the relationship or whoever's in the relationship, they should all somehow benefit from that relationship in some way. Yeah. Whether it be you learning something from them or whether it be mental stimulation, stuff like that. Like I feel like whenever you get into a relationship, you should look at it as, well, how will this benefit me? Because you shouldn't just go into something for no reason, you know?
Right. It shouldn't be one-sided.
I don't want people to think I'm saying like, oh, I'll get in this relationship and I'll get money, or I'll get this, that, and the third. No, I think it should just be like benefiting towards where you can, everybody included in the relationship will grow as a person.
Yeah.
You shouldn't jump into a relationship and then y'all just, y'all are at a standstill. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Honestly, with that, I feel like a lot of enablers get into relationships because it's like when you enable habits or when you don't end habits and y'all both have the same habits, you just stay stagnant the whole time. And it's like people don't even realize that they're in this one stagnant spot. Yeah, you growing together and y'all might be getting older together or whatever, but y'all still in the same stagnant spot, you know, like it's life.
I also think with any type of relationship you have, whether it's romantic, platonic, like you should all have boundaries. Boundaries is like a must in any type of relationship.
Yes, definitely.
I agree too.
On the flip side, have you or anyone you know been in a toxic relationship?
Yes. I've been in toxic relationships.
Yes, I have.
I'm about to say, I've grown up around toxic relationships.
Same, been in one and grew up around a toxic relationship.
I didn't know. Toxic, but
I was just saying, I've seen toxic relationships, and I think I've been in a toxic friendship.
If you have to say,
if you have to,
likely been in one.
Yes, it was.
You were. If you gotta question it, then it's a yes.
Yeah,
it's a yes.
I've been in a couple toxic situations.
Did they all have similarities?
I feel like with mine, they all had the same similarities because I attract emotionally unavailable people, but I'm starting to realize it's because I was emotionally unavailable to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was like different people, but it was all still the same issues for me personally that made it toxic. So
yeah. So the previous episode we did mention any type of relationship that was unhealthy and stuff. And I know I did mention about my parents being in a toxic relationship and how that affected me. But I was in a toxic relationship or situationship, however you want to call it. I thought they all were the same. And I realized that it was not only me, but I feel like noticing myself, I didn't know what I want. So I just assumed. So when I was in it, why not? I'm here anyway. So let me just ride it out then. After a while, figuring out this is not what I want at all. Because it's like I wasted my time and I wasted your time.
And oh my gosh, same, because it's just like, even if I know that maybe I'm not supposed to be with this person, I'm a very loyal, drawn out person. So if I'm invested into somebody, I'm willing to work out the kinks with that person.
Yeah.
And so that's where I be messing up, because people be clearly showing me that they don't want the kinks to be worked out. Like I ignore it, and I'd be like, okay, red flag. Okay, it was orange. Okay, let me wait till
right.
Okay, let me wait till it get red, and then the red flag come. I'd be like, okay, but it's not on fire, so let me just wait till it catch on fire.
I seen this thing on Twitter. It was like, I like to see how red a flag can get before I leave.
Literally, and that's my
that's unhealthy.
My issue. Like, I really like to see how red a flag can get. Like, I can see a red flag. I can see it plain as day right in my face. I'd be like, that's a nice color. Let me see if it can.
I mean, you try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, they had a bad day. They had some trauma, so we're trying to work it out. I have trauma, he has trauma, or she has trauma, so we're going to work it out. But, yeah, y'all not on the same level at all.
It's not meant for you to work everything out with everybody. Yeah. That's what I have to realize. It's like, people really are in your life for seasons. And I have to realize that. I tell people that all the time. People are put here to experience, not to keep and have. Mm-hmm. I keep instilling that in myself, because I be ready to keep somebody, like, even though they not supposed to be here, but I be ready to keep till the wheels fall off, and that be my issue.
Another issue that I have is me feeling bad after the fact, like, oh, dang. Like,
yes.
Let's talk about it.
And I feel like some people feel like, what if I miss out on this? Like, so what? It's so many other relationships you'll get into that you won't even think about those previous ones.
Like, I be having to remind myself that I'm such a powerful person, because I don't really be stuck on one person. What you just said, I have to realize that it's other people out here waiting to get to know me, and it's other people that I need to be getting to know. So that is facts.
You know what? I'm one of those people where I take everything as a sign. I'm like, oh, so he's talking to me because God sent him. God sent him down here to come talk to me.
Kaylin.
That's how I look at it, and then boom, I end up in a terrible situation.
They're all lessons.
That's true.
Good
That's
or
true. They
bad.
are all lessons.
Good or bad.
They really are, whether you know that it's about to be a lesson or not. Yeah. It's a lesson in some way.
And talking about the different types of unhealthy relationships that we have, I realized that we kind of mentioned a type of abuse in a way. How we have different types of abuse, whether it's emotional, physical, verbal, financial, or digital. I learned that the other day, digital abuse. And I'm like,
yeah, what's digital abuse?
So, digital abuse is the use of technology such as texting and social networking to bully, harass, stalk, or intimidate a partner. Wow.
Oh.
So, like, if somebody posted something on Instagram and they're like, why you answer my phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think it's digital abuse when you have your friends or family members post embarrassing photos of you without your consent? Do you think that's like digital abuse?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely think that's digital abuse, because especially if you're not comfortable with the photo and then somebody just goes and posts it. And on top of that, if you've expressed to that person that you weren't comfortable with it and they still go do it, yes, that's definitely digital abuse.
Yeah. Another type is emotional, and emotional abuse is an abusive behavior that isn't physical, which may include verbal aggression, intimidation, manipulation, and humiliation, which most often unfolds as a pattern of behavior over time that aims to diminish another person's sense of identity and self-worth. It's a common one. Most people...
Very, 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 very common.
Yes. And some examples are like isolating you from family, friends, or other people in your life, blaming you for their abusive behaviors, or maybe cheating on you to intentionally hurt you or threaten you to cheat again to suggest that they're better than you.
My biggest thing with emotional abuse is like emotional manipulation. Like, oh my gosh, because that's something that has like plagued me my whole life. And like, I'm really trying to escape that, because when it comes to gaslighting and you know, when people try to make you feel crazy and you know what you're talking about, stuff like emotional manipulation is the biggest thing that can make me upset. And I don't even really like to get upset, but I'm one of those people that I will continue to endure something. Unfortunately, I shouldn't be this way, but I will continue to endure something because I'm understanding your point of view, and I'll forget that you're not understanding mine. So the day that I finally get to the point like, wait a minute, then is when I finally blow up and I address it. And then when I get gaslighting back, and that's, oh, y'all, I mean, like, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, tag me out. Like, emotional abuse is terrible.
And it's a lot, because it all ties back to mental health too. With gaslighting, people questioning your own sanity, like, oh yeah, this is not real, that never happened, and stuff like that.
I remember the time somebody tried to gaslight me. Well, in my case, it was funny because they ended up looking stupid in the end. But because I had receipts.
Right.
So this person, he kind of, I'm not going to say he ghosted me, because like we weren't anything, like nothing was really going on. But, you know, I cut off all communication with this person. I was just like, you know, they're non-existent to me at this point, you know? I was doing fine until one day he got switched into my class, and he wanted me to be his partner on this assignment or something, because like I knew what I was doing. I had a very good grade in that class. Meanwhile, he did not. And he was like, oh, hi, how are you? How are you doing? I said, and you are, you don't remember when you did this, that, and the third? He was like, oh, no, that never happened. No, that didn't happen. I was like, oh, really? Pull up the receipts.
As you should. As you should. Like,
you look stupid.
It's people really don't be believing that they be gaslighting other people. You cannot think that's okay.
Being gaslit, it makes me cringe so bad.
Talking about gaslighting, another abuse would be verbal abuse. And verbal abuse occurs when someone uses negative or demeaning words to maintain power and control over someone else, such as gaslighting, like we mentioned, telling you that you're lucky to be with them or that you will never find anyone better, and calling you names, assaulting you, or constantly criticizing you. Words hurt.
And you know that bang, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt. That is also gaslighting in general, because they lied. Okay,
words hurt. But y'all know I grew up in a big family. You know, me being one of the youngest at the time, and you know, I was the chubby kid. So, and I had a lot of male cousins, and they're hard on you. They're hard. But I don't know. I feel like that kind of toughened my skin. Like, it might have hurt at the time, but now it's just like, oh, throw something at me. Watch me throw it right back.
Right, as you should.
Watch me come back 10 times harder. I will hurt your feelings. Keep playing.
Do you agree when some people be saying, I'd rather my family members to do me than somebody else on the street to do it?
No, because it hurts more than coming from family.
It does hurt more. It
hurts more.
In theory, the idea of that sounds cute or whatever. You know, your family saying it so nobody else.
Right.
In theory, that's cute.
But these are the people that's supposed to nurture you.
Yeah, like if somebody off the street is saying something wild to me, that's somebody off the streets.
Right.
If my cousin is saying this wild stuff to me,
right.
Hold on, baby, what are you doing?
Right. We have financial abuse, which occurs when someone intimidates you and threatens someone else through finances in order to entrap the other person in the relationship. And that's something that people don't really think about. Financial abuse is real.
Don't ever give nobody the opportunity to take anything from you. That's
right.
all.
And did y'all know that financial abuse occurs in 99% of domestic violence cases, according to the Center for Financial Security? 99%. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, like, and it's like, I just thank God that I've never been put in a situation like that, because I don't even, it's like, I want to say, how could you stay? How could you do that?
Right.
But at the same time, I've never been in it to know,
Right. That is true. And some examples could be refusal to provide money for necessary or shared expenses like food, clothing, transportation, medical care, or medicine. Preventing you from working, limiting your hours that you can work, getting you fired, or forcing you to work certain types of jobs.
I have came across a lot of people who are like, oh, yeah, I want somebody that's going to pay my rent, da-da-da-da. But it's just like, why can't you do that yourself?
Right.
I want somebody to put their money in my gas tank.
That's giving them some type of like control over you and what you do.
Mm-hmm. I get one to be taken care of, and love after, like, that makes sense. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, as a person of your own stature, you should have some type of financial currency to your name, so that if you ever want to, yes, your spouse is taking care of you, right? Cool. But when your spouse is away for something, or wouldn't it feel nice to be able to just go pay for something because you wanted to go do it, and you won't have to go ask your spouse, hey, babe, can I borrow this and this? Like, I just feel like it's something about independency that it's just beautiful. It's something about independency that's really beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy doing things myself. I enjoy treating myself. Like, it's nice for somebody to be like, oh, let me do this for you every now and then, right? Yeah. But I don't want to have to need that. I don't like depending on other people because I feel like it's an inconvenience to them.
And also, I realized that sometimes with that, even with me being independent, it's an issue in a way, because I'm so independent that I won't let anybody do anything for me, which is not good. Help is good. I think it all goes back to like emotional things. But yeah, I'm so independent to the point where it's like, even if you want to help me, I'm going to look at you like, okay, I appreciate it, but I got it. Because I've just always been under this mindset where nobody's going to have me like I have me.
The last type of abuse that we want to talk about is sexual abuse. And when that is unwanted sexual activity where perpetrators using force, making threats, or taking advantage of victims not able to give consent.
Yeah, people feel like because you're in a relationship with somebody that they can't be sexually abused. But I feel like it happens a lot more.
Yeah. Do you agree with what people say, like, you can't get raped if you're in a relationship, like by your significant other?
It don't matter if 5 minutes ago I was all for it and, some time passed or whatever, or we get to our destination. Or like an example, we're at the club and I'm feeling it when I'm at the club. Like, I'm all into it. And then on the way home or whatever time passes and I think and I change my mind and I don't want to do it. And this could be my spouse. And then we get home and you're still interacting with me in that way. And then you still proceed to do those things. That is rape, in my opinion. You can change your mind right before. It doesn't matter. As soon as you say no and someone still proceeds, that is sexual abuse.
I agree. But now we would like to introduce Tavon Benson. He was born and raised in Baltimore City. He is currently a program manager for AP. Hey Tavon. Hey, we're gonna. I know it's been a while. It's really been a while.
How you doing?
Well, Kaylin, I seen you like maybe a month or two ago. But the rest of y'all, it's been a while. It's been a while.
But how are you?
We planned. I'm actually right now currently, Kaylin mentioned something about doing things for yourself. So today I got up and came down to the harbor and bought a coffee. And now I'm just sitting down here chilling, enjoying the nice weather.
It's a nice day out.
It's very nice out.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I would still wear a jacket, y'all, because it's still kind of windy. But yeah, it's a nice day out.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I'm not going to lie, even during like the worst part of coronavirus, I was still outside. I wasn't like around people or nothing. I just don't like to be in the house.
Me neither. But today our topic is healthy versus unhealthy relationships. And we was talking about the different types of abuse. identifying what is an unhealthy relationship and what is a healthy relationship. So I wanted to ask you, how do you define a healthy relationship?
That is actually a very good question. In my opinion, though, what defines a healthy relationship is a few things. The first thing is boundaries. I think that even just typical relationship, typical conversation, there needs to be some level of balance to whether it's with your significant other, whether it's with your sister, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your friend. There needs to be a balance in all types of relationship. Anytime that the relationship starts to teeter one way, that's when the problems start. Yeah. And then another thing that I think makes a healthy relationship is being able to understand each other and understand where each other's coming from, understand each other's side of the argument, being able to understand why she's mad or why he's mad. I think especially in like with your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever you end up dealing with, y'all need to have your own lives. I think that one of the most biggest problems in relationships, because especially early on in relationships, like we want to be around each other. We want to be up underneath each other. We want to know what each other's are doing every 5 minutes. And then after like 3-4 months of that, maybe even 6 months of that, like it starts to be like, all right. Like the person's breathing starts to get on your nerves. So I think I think both of y'all need to have your own careers, have your own friends. And then the last part for me that makes a healthy relationship is trust. If there's no trust in a relationship, whether it's with your sister, your brother, your cousin, whoever, if there's no trust between y'all two, what is the point of there being in a relationship? Even if one person trusts one person and the other person don't trust. If there's even a little bit of distrust, then the relationship is going to start spiraling out of control.
Right.
Because then you're going to start questioning things. You're going to want to start seeing things. Like that's going to start building a whole bunch of other problems.
Yeah.
So, Tavon, you seem to have a good grasp on like what builds a healthy relationship and stuff like that. So would you consider yourself to be a good friend?
That's a good question.
I consider myself to be an awesome friend. And I know a lot of people ask this question are going to probably say the same thing. But I can only speak for me. And I think I'm an awesome friend because I feel like to be a good friend, you got to be willing to sacrifice some of your time to lend a listening ear to your friends because your friends are going through real life situations. But not only just lending a listening ear, I'm loyal. Like if my friends aren't saying eye to eye with someone else, it ain't no me being cordial with them. Don't get me wrong, I can have my moments where I can seem a bit anti-social to my friends, and that's just me wanting my distance and wanting some time to myself, but they understand if they're my real friend.
Right.
I think with my friends, they want me to be a yes man. I'm not a yes man.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
We don't do that.
I don't do that. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
I am very blunt with my friends. I don't tell them things that they want to hear. Like Kaylin just said, I give it to you straight like a shot of liquor. Now, how you take it is how you take it.
Right. That is very
yes.
But I feel like nowadays, people make it difficult to be a good friend because they don't know how to be a good person for themselves and then like how to actually project that when they're in different types of relationships. But on the flip side of a healthy relationship, have you ever been in an unhealthy relationship? And it could be platonic or romantic.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to let y'all in my business a little bit. Because it's my business. And y'all my homegirls now. So I'm going to let y'all know what's going on. So I've been in 2 unhealthy relationships. I was definitely in a toxic relationship with my siblings because they only viewed me as the provider. Like the problem solver and the provider. They never called me to hang out with them. They never called me to, hey, Tavon, how you doing?
Right.
Is everything okay? Do you need anything? It's always a phone call about what's their problem, what they need, this, that, and third. And I don't mind helping. Y'all my sisters. I don't mind it. But when it becomes a habit and when I'm down and out and you can't be there for me and you can't be a crutch I can lean on for a week or for a day, then that's when Tavon starts saying no. And that's where we are right now. They think I'm being stingy and selfish because I say the word no to them a lot. And it's not that, it's that y'all take advantage of the word yes. You don't know how to handle the blessing of the word yes.
Right.
And you take advantage of it. And I watch y'all take advantage of everyone else who's nice, and you're not going to do that to me. And I love y'all to death. Y'all my sisters and everything. But at the end of the day, Tavon got to worry about his happiness.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, Tavon got to pay his bills. At the end of the day, Tavon has to worry about his own mental health. And I'm not gonna set my own happiness to the side just to satisfy you because you need something. Because you knew you needed that 3 weeks ago.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true.
Second toxic relationship I was in. So I was trying to court this girl, and like she was giving me the energy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like she was digging me, but I then turned out to realize that she was kind of using me. But I think I put myself in that situation because I went in trying to build something with this girl by buying her stuff.
Gotcha.
And that's all she expected. If I didn't buy her something, or if I went out and got something and came back and didn't get her something, it would be a whole problem.
Oh, wow.
And I just, like, at the end of the day, felt like I wasn't enough. I just felt like no matter what I did, it just wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've been in those toxic relationships, I've learned valuable lessons from them, and I've grown a lot from them. And there's some boundaries I've set for myself because of those toxic relationships. And a lot of people look at those relationships and be like, I wish I never met them.
Right.
I wish I never was a part of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, why was I in that? Because you were meant to learn a lesson from that. Yeah, heard it at the time while you was in it. And yeah, felt like a boulder on your back, but it was a lesson for you to learn. Like, and until you learn that lesson, that boulder will stay on your back.
It's so nice to hear you reiterate what we were saying earlier, because we definitely said that every relationship that you get in is always a lesson, whether it's bad or good.
If there are young people listening to this, I want to say to y'all, don't get too bottled up in relationships while you're young. Enjoy your young life. Go out, have fun. Don't have no boy or girl tying you down right now. Enjoy. If you're under 25, enjoy your life. Even before 30, I would say, like, enjoy your 20s. Like, that is your young prime. Enjoy that. You do not need to be bogged down with somebody marrying you unless you really, really feel like you have to be with them. But you're still young. And even if you decide to be with them, still have your own life and do your own stuff. That person that you're in that relationship with shouldn't be the person that defines your happiness. They're not responsible for you being happy. Y'all responsible for bringing the happiness to the relationship and continue to build on each other's happiness.
Yes.
I definitely agree. Thank you, Tavon.
Don't get me to preaching on it because I will preach.
I
got my cup of coffee.
Be your own happiness. Yes. Don't lose your identity when you're with somebody else. I know that you had mentioned that you've been working as a youth developer for about 12 years plus. So, like, what made you want to do that?
So I never thought in a billion years that I would be doing youth development. I thought I was going to be like a chef owning my own restaurant somewhere here downtown because that was always my dream. But apparently God has a different path for me to take. I started at a community association called Druidites CDC in West Baltimore.
Okay.
In the Druidites neighborhood. And I started there volunteering, helping kids out in the after-school program. And they saw how good I interacted with the kids and engaged the kids at like 16 years old. And like I volunteered there for like a year. And then like that year after, they asked me did I want to work there part-time. And then around like 2009, 2009, they brought me on full-time. And I've been running summer camps, after-school programs, violence prevention programs. I really love working with young people because, like, they're our future. And young people in inner city in Baltimore and cities like Baltimore with impoverished communities, those kids are forgotten. They're living in situations where half the people in this country just don't even have a clue about it.
Right.
Like, we got 13-year-olds dealing with real-life adult situations, homelessness, hungriness. That gets me out the bed every day to know that I'm going to be going out here today and really impacting a young person's life. I've had so many young people come back to me over the last maybe 5 years and they'll say to me, man, I remember you taught me this, or I remember, man, you were so cool when I was young. Man, I want to be like you. And that feels so good. And I don't do the work to hear that. I do the work to make men like myself or men better than myself and make women better than my sisters or my mothers or the women that grow up in impoverished communities. Like that work, it gives me chills to work with young people. They keep me young too. Yeah, and then when you do community work and working with young people, what you realize is, I was joking about this with Mr. Ron, your work is never over. You may work a 9 to 5, But when you live in the community where you work, you got to literally tell people, like, I'm off right now. I took mental notes of what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to me tomorrow. Like, and it hurts me to tell them that. But like y'all was saying, sometimes it's about taking care of yourself. Sometimes it's about looking after you. And
selfish.
I love this community to death, and I love young people to death, but I still have to find some time for me.
Yes.
But I'll always find time for young people. And if a young person comes to me and needs help with something, I will break my back trying to find them the resources to get what they need, because I know how hard it is to do it alone, because I was one of those young people.
Okay, guys, so we're going to be introducing a new segment into the podcast called What Triggered That? This is when we read off a couple of different scenarios and we kind of dissect the scenario to try and figure out, what triggered that?
What triggered that?
Okay, so the first scenario is a girlfriend sees her boyfriend catching up with old coworkers. After sharing a hug, the girlfriend gets distant and goes to the car. What triggered that?
I think what triggered that was, one, a little bit of natural jealousy. And then two, I think probably in a previous relationship, someone cheated on her. And the thought of her now current boyfriend hugging another girl, even if it's a friend or not, bring back those memories of that cheating. That's just my opinion.
I agree. I think it just goes with insecurity. She's probably insecure about her boyfriend having friends of the opposite gender, or like you said, having previous situations where her boyfriend probably cheated on her, or they did have a relationship with the opposite gender and it went farther than what it should have. So I think it could be insecurities.
I definitely see that.
And she could have some type of neglect issues.
That's true. That's very true. A lot can go into it.
Look at me breaking it down.
Right. Another scenario is Jess and Maya gets into a disagreement about the trip cost. Maya tries to explain to Jess that she is willing to pay her way, but Jess dislikes that. Jess shuts down and argues that she can pay her way. She has money and she doesn't need anybody for anything. What triggered that?
Oh, because that's me sometimes. What be triggering it for me? I think what triggered that was, you know how like people don't feel like they're a burden to someone?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe sometime in her past, she maybe was a burden to someone.
Right.
And it kind of made her feel uncomfortable. They may not have mentioned it or something, but she felt uncomfortable because she was a burden. Because I'm like that sometimes. I don't want you to pay for nothing of mine. I can pay for it myself. I don't need no help. Right. None of that. And I know that's kind of like toxic to not want nobody to help you. But I get the feeling like I don't want to be a burden.
Yeah, I agree, because what triggered that would be that feeling like you're a burden to other people, and also having like an experience where, she probably did ask people to like pay for stuff and they just threw it back in her face and was like, yeah, you're broke, or,
But what else could y'all think that be other than that though? Like I think, because even with myself, it has to be something mental going on, because I get those thoughts all the time. Like, I don't need nobody.
Is it just like having that type of independent mindset where you just want to stick to being independent? You don't want people to think that you need them. So it's like, it's okay if you help out, but I don't want you to think that I need you.
I agree.
It's a lot of
things. I think that's what it is. The independency.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you get so used to doing things for yourself. Especially with me, I'm so used to being a loner and just doing things for myself that even the thought of someone helping me makes me feel uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's a man thing or just a side effect of me just being so independent all the time.
I definitely think it's a side effect of being so independent.
Like, have you guys ever experienced a time where somebody did say they got you and they just never came through? I was just trying to see that type of mindset. Did it come from somewhere where you did like have somebody say they would look out for you, but they never came through and actually kept their word?
It has happened to me, but I know exactly where the mindset comes from. My mom, she just raised me like, just make sure that you cover yourself, just make sure you're good. Gotcha. Whenever I go out to eat, I don't care if this person says that they're going to pay for my food. I'll make sure that I bring enough money to cover my end and my tip.
I agree.
So for me, it was the way that I was brought up.
I think with me too, my mother's broken promises and everything all these years. And I think that's probably where it comes from. Like, all right, okay, I'm used to broken promises, so I'm going to just do it myself. Well, that was fun. That was a good show.
Thank you. But before we let you go, we wanted to ask you, do you have any questions for us?
So how comfortable do you guys feel doing a podcast on a scale of 1 through 10?
I feel like...
Because I wanted to start my own podcast.
Yeah, I like it. And I feel like you would enjoy it.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for coming and being
I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me be a guest.
No problem. See you. Have a good day.
See y'all at Strut.
Yes, see you. His advice and his response to all the questions were really, really valuable.
I think so too.
Yeah, he basically just reiterated everything that we had mentioned earlier about what's a healthy relationship, unhealthy relationships, how do we define it? Yeah.
Just want to say one last thing to tie it all together. Just so you know, loving unconditional does not mean under any condition. And that is something that we learned from the great Saron Fawcett.
Yes.
I love that quote. I'm gonna hang it up on my wall.
Yeah, the first quote. I think the first time we ever heard that quote was probably during high school. But how I interpret that quote, I really think is really good because I think that some people probably interpret unconditional love as in like any unconditional. Like you are a human, you have feelings, you have emotions, and you deserve better. You deserve great things. So I feel like if somebody's not giving you that or not reciprocating the positive energy that you're giving them, it's no need to really suffer and go through that at all. It's not worth it.
The way I interpret that is kind of just like a reminder to love yourself, because you can't stay in a relationship that's not good for you.
So
that's kind of how I interpret it, as a reminder to love yourself.
And thank you for tuning in to our next episode every Friday at noon. Thank you guys.
And we are the
AP Effect. See y'all. See y'all next Friday.
See you guys.